So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another session of the DQ Labs E-Meet your Architecture School. And today we're really happy to have Jindal School of Art and Architecture, which is in the NCR region of Delhi. And we are very happy to have Professor Dr. Joydeep Chatterjee with us, and he's gonna take you through this. He's the vice dean and professor of Jindal School of Art and Architecture. But before we start off, I'll just take you through what's going to happen over the next 30 minutes, next 60 minutes or so. We're going to understand the philosophy of Dr. Joydeep. He's the one who's heading and driving the institute. We're going to talk about the unique features of the school, the faculty, the general scores and ranks, or the admission process and the board percentage required, your hostel fees, course fees, other expenses related to this, and all unique points of the institute, which you would absolutely love. Okay. You can ask your questions as well. And during this, we're going to ask you five, uh, five new NATA 2020 pattern questions. All right. So look out for those as well. Now, before we start off, we would like you to click on the like button and subscribe to this DQ Labs channel. And y'all can also look out for these 5 new questions during the webinar. Y'all can also find this on our DQ Edge platform. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and over to Dr. Joydeep Chatterjee. And then at some point of time, we'll get Mr. Azad Ali as well, who's the Director of Admissions. All right. Right.
Thank you, Dion. It's always a pleasure to interact with you at DQ Labs. It's a lot of fun, DQ Labs, and we have had a long association. So thank you so much for having us here. I'd like to share a presentation with everyone. So if I may, I'm just going to share my screen.
Dr. Joydeep, before that, can I just share the first question?
Sure.
So that the students can probably answer this.
All right, okay. Absolutely, please.
We'll give you 30 seconds to answer this question, and over to the academic team from DQ Labs.
Perfect.
Yeah. Hi, guys. This is the first question today. So the topic is ability to visualize shapes. So you need to count how many animal types are there in this figure. Okay. So your time starts now. Yeah, the answer for this question is option B, 4 types. Okay, so camel, hen, pig, and ostrich. Okay, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was trying to guess it myself and I actually got it right. So thank God for that. There you go. I was like, it took me a time to find the pig. It was very easy, but I was like, all right, I can make it to a school of architecture still. Thank God for that. All right. Awesome. So, wanted to start off with sharing the presentation. So let me just quickly go ahead and do that, right? Okay, wonderful. Okay, give me a second. Let me start from the beginning of the slideshow. All right, wonderful. So we are a relatively new school. While the school was itself founded in 2017, it's 2018 when we formally launched it and started our programs, right? We started our school with this one big idea, right? Which was to become what we call the foremost center of learning, which will produce a paradigmatic shift in the making and discourse about the built environment in general. Now, you all may be wondering, what is the built environment? A very simple definition: any environment that is built by man, right? Any environment that is built by man. So our idea was to become a place which will be number one, right? Introducing a shift about not only how we make the built environment, but also how we talk about it, how we analyze it, how we research it, right? 4 other principles were guiding us, right? Number one, it's very, very important that you understand this, and I will go into a little more detail with this, is where making a school where knowledge is always understood as being. So the idea here is that we don't believe in knowledge as being something that's written in textbooks, right? Something that is fixed, something that is finite. Knowledge is something that as you make things, as you do things, knowledge is what is produced, knowledge is what is disseminated, and knowledge is what is accumulated at this point of time, right? So that's number one. Number two, it was providing learners with a multidisciplinary, intellectual, rigorous, and open-ended environment where they can choose to learn at their pace and their styles. Now, this is very important too. All of us are extremely diverse people, right? We have different things that we are interested in, different ways we learn, different things that we want to focus on. Then why have a system which essentially is a one-size-fits-all? Now, as we'll see later on in the presentation, that's not how the JSA works. You're allowed to really be and make your own kind of coursework, right? Number three, imagining and fostering a way of thinking that goes beyond artificial differences such as practice and theory, business or critical practice, thinking, doing, theory, that way. Most schools will tell you, that there's a theory portion to things, there's a practice portion to things. We don't believe so. We believe that theory emerges out of practice, right? You don't have to think that it can either be a business or you can do critical work. No, both can go hand in hand. Thinking is not opposed to doing. Making is not opposed to thinking. All of these things are going together hand in hand. And fourthly, not any least important, is the idea, right? That faculty are not what is called a reservoir of knowledge. It's not like, there's a bigger tank of knowledge, which is the faculty, and you guys as students are empty. No, you have knowledge already. You have lived 18 years on this earth. You have a lot of knowledge too. So the idea is that we learn and produce knowledge together. You and us, faculty, as peers, not as somebody who's on the high pedestal and somebody who doesn't know anything, but as peers, as active agents who work on projects together. And that's the way we all learn. We learn something from you and you learn something from us. So how does all of this really, really translate into concrete ideas, projects, and things on the ground at the JSA? Let me start with the first thing. The first idea, that this is what I said, that we don't believe in sort of going into a textbook or a book-based learning. The idea is that if you're going to work with the built environment, then the built environment is your workshop, right? So constantly, we believe that our cities, our towns, our villages, our infrastructure, all of these are actually our classrooms. That's where we study. That's where we work, right? So one of the main things that we do at the JSA, which is very, very unique in the country, is that all our design projects are live projects. Now, what does that mean? Basically, what it means is that these are real projects. What you see in front of you is a redesign of a community center in called Koshish, which we did. You can see there are the clients there. There were other architects there who were part of the project, and we redesigned this entire building, right? So there was a real budget. All of it was absolutely real. It went on. Our students went and worked on site. They not only drew drawings, but they actually made things, made the buildings on site, right? Here's another example of that. Here's something called the Katha Puppet Studio in Delhi. This is, if you see in the bottom left-hand corner, you will see Anurupa, who's the puppet artist. This is her studio. It was in a very bad shape. Our students went and actually worked on it, remaking it, redesigning it, repainting it, doing all the work with their hands. So live projects with a budget, with a client, with a timeline, with a construction company, with other architects, with your own faculty as lead architects and designers on this project, right? This was put together. Here is another example of this. This is our second year students who took this building called Unnati. Unnati is one of the first buildings which was certified, given a platinum rating certification by Leeds, which is a company that certifies green buildings. But the clients wanted the energy consumption of the building to be further reduced, right? What you see below on the left-hand side of your screens are actually the two faculty members who led this project and the students who produced this kind of a shell for the building, a skin for the building, which further reduced the energy consumption of the building by 25%. And in fact, now Unnati, these plans, they were submitted to Unnati, and Unnati is actually going to take this up when they can. All right. So this is what we mean by working with projects, working with real life people, real life constraints, real life budgets, and all of that. All right. I'm going to stop here for a second and allow DQ Labs to actually give you the second question for the NATA exam that's there. Right. Go ahead, Dion.
Yeah, guys, this is your second question. So this question is, the topic is visual system interpretation and perception. Which one of the following silvers can be rotated and copied without mirroring or overlapping to create the pattern of the spokes shown below? Okay, so option A is given, B, C, and D. Your time starts now. Yep, the correct answer is option C. Only B and C. Okay, because B and C can be rotated and copied to create the spoke pattern. But option A is invalid because this pattern of short, long, short is not seen in the wheel. Okay, then option D needs to be mirrored in order to create the pattern. Okay, yeah. That's
Can I get to share the screen? Yeah, thank you so much. All right, so that was the first part of our philosophy, right? I want to go to the next part of our philosophy, right? Which
slide, Jaideep.
Yeah, which I'm sharing this with you, which was allowing you all to really think outside and create your own sort of curriculum and how we learn, like learning together, right? So here the idea is really that we that everything that we do at the JSA is through an investigative method, right? So what is this investigative? So let me show you some examples of our work, right? So what you see here is that, for example, in the construction class, we just don't give you some theories or ask you to make some drawings of how a chair should be made. I'm going to show you a very short clip. It's going to be very short to give you an idea how we asked our students. We gave them an object, for example, a chair, and we said, break it, unpack it, dismantle it in order to find this out. So I'll show you a very short version of that. This is something our students prepared, actually. This particular student prepared. you get the idea. The idea, and Taha, this is what Taha did at the end. He did something called a flat lay, in which, he showed exactly how the things came together. Let me see if I have a photograph of that to show all of you. It's just got, so he went through all of this, right? Created this kind of flat lay, every object, where it came from, what was its costs, how did it come together, what is it made of. So the idea is to learn through the act of unpacking and making. Same on your left hand side below, you can see something very, very similar. You can see something very similar what the students have done. Instead of making drawings of walls or foundations or any of this, students were actually asked to make all of these things, right? Another very short video for you all to see, but this one, they were having a lot more fun than actually working. So very quickly, let me show you this video. So this is them making their foundation, except they were having too much fun doing it, right? So the idea really was that you learn by making everything: a wall, a foundation, a roof, a beam, a column, all elements of the building. You have to learn to make them. You make them with your hands, and that's how you learn about them, and you never forget them. Before we go on to the next idea that is there, which is this question of make improvised design, I'm going to hand the presentation back to the folks at DQ so that they can give you their next question.
Yeah, so this is your third question. Understanding geometry. There are 4 platonic solids of equal volume with the following numbers of vertices. Arrange them in order of increasing surface area. So this are the vertices they've given. So the option is option A 3, 2, 4, 1, option B 1, 4, 2, 3, and option C 2, 3, 1, 4, and option D is 4, 1, 3, 2. So your time starts now. Yeah, the correct answer is option B. Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you, Meena. I have to say, every time you give these, I try to solve them too, because I get anxiety. I'm like, I wonder if I am able to still do all of this or not. Thank you. I'm getting most of the answers right, which is a good sign. All right. So, okay, great. So the third idea that we have is this idea of make improvised design. What it essentially means is that, as you see this quote right next to you, is that, anything you design is never finished, right? So how do we proceed, right? We have to understand that every design is actually an improvisation. It's something provisional, something inept. And thank God for that. Because just think of it this way: if you actually did design the perfect house, that would be the end of all houses, because how can you improve on perfection, right? So thankfully, that's there, right? So this idea is actually built into your coursework. And what you do is you learn everything by remembering that there's a better way to do this again, right? So here's a perfect example of something like this, right? Something like even mundane as structures, which other places you will do it through physics equations and things like that. That's not how we do it. So here what you see in front of you is really an example which was given to the students, where we said, all right, how do you learn about forces, wind action, impact, all of this, but not through equations, but rather through modeling things. So we did something called this egg drop competition, where we asked the students to make structures and encase a little egg into it and drop it from a 15-meter height and keep experimenting till the egg did not break, right? So I'm going to show you a little video, like a 1-second video, which will show you one structure made by this student, Ishita, which actually survived. So there you Perfect. Ishita's egg actually managed to work, and this is how she was learning on how air works, how impact motion works, how forces work in a building, in structures, right? How does wind action work, right? Okay. A very important thing that I would like to talk about, and I'll talk about this in a little more detail later on, is the final thing that I mentioned, which is that none of us are like another person. We are all unique individuals. So how can we make a program which allows others to, which allows all of us to actually choose the kind of subjects we want to do, right? How do we create our own course of study, right? This is one of the main things that we have done at the JSA, in which all and every one of you is actually able to choose your own subjects. I will talk about that in greater detail in a bit of time. But let me shift tacks a bit and show you that we now have a new and beautiful building which looks something like this, right? The building was actually made and designed in a specific way with everything exposed so that students can even learn in an environment where you can see everything. You can see how the building is made. You can see every aspect of the building. And in fact, the building is something that's a work in progress where our students keep doing things, whether, things like painting murals around it, but also doing structural changes to the building, right? So the idea really is that you keep working and learning from the very space in which you are inhabiting, which you are staying constantly, right? We started off with one program, which was the Bachelor's of Architecture. And I'll talk a little bit about this, how it's different from other Bachelors of Architecture. What you see here, remember that point about you all finding your own career and your own coursework? Well, we have something called a minor, which you can see in brown, right? I'll get into the detail of that in a bit. But from the Bachelor's of Architecture over the last 2 years, our programs have also grown. We have added something called an Architectural Studies program, which is a 3+1 year program. And we have added something called a Community Planning and Development program, which is also a 3+1 year program. So who are community planners and developers? Well, community planners and developers are key individuals who improve quality of life through recommendations such as use of public transit systems, development of walkable communities, development of affordable housing, sustainable practices, or historic preservation. So there are these very key people who are involved in the making of communities and making them more livable by regulating land use, creating design guidelines, developing finance packages. So, this is a program which gives you a design background, but adds other kinds of liberal arts curricula to it. Now, the Architectural Studies program is a one-of-a-kind, unique program in the country. This is especially geared towards those who would actually like to do architecture, but do not have a PCM background, right? And how this is designed is that you do a 3+1 year, and then you actually become eligible for Master of Architecture programs all over the world. And I'll go into a little bit of detail on that. But before I do, why don't we go ahead and give students one more question from the current NATA format.
Yeah, guys, the next question is about color theory. So what color is used for life-saving apparatus on commercial ships like lifeboats and life rafts? So the options are white, orange, blue, and black. The time starts now. The correct answer is option B.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Back to sharing my screen again. All right. So I was talking about the new programs that we have introduced, right? So how does this really work? Very simple. What you have in front of you is the curriculum structure of the two programs. You see what you see in green are the ateliers. Those are actually those live projects that you do, right? And depending on whichever program you choose, whether it's the architectural studies or the community planning and development, you've got to take something called the pathway seminars, which actually kind of groom you with seminars all across that particular subject area. Your first year remains your foundation year, which is a mandatory year. This foundation year is actually common across all our programs, right? And you see what it does is give you some general studies, it gives you some specific skills that we want you to, and it also introduces you to this idea of making, of representation, of live projects in the first year, right? So what we do to our entering students is basically give them the credits that they have to take, and it's up to them to take it when they want. In fact, this year, we are introducing another new program. We are expanding at a really good rate because things are going well. This is a B design curriculum, and it's the interior design program that we have introduced. The basic structure of the program remains the same, right? So you have your ateliers, your interior design ateliers. The foundation will remain common because for architecture, architectural studies, community planning development, and interior design. After that, in the second year onwards, you take different kinds of ateliers that are there. You take different pathway seminars that are there, and you take different skills that are required for the different things. Now, coming to the most, important thing which I'm talking about is this question of minors. At JSAA, the idea is that every one of your coursework, right, whether it's architectural design or architectural studies or community planning or interior design, you have, if you see very quickly, about 30 credits designated for a minor area of studies. So what are the different minor area of studies? The minor area of studies are, you can choose from a liberal arts, a minor in liberal arts, a minor in business studies, a minor in legal studies, government and political studies, journalism, communication, environmental substance. Actually, these are all schools at the Jindal. So while you're taking classes in our school, you're also going to take classes in the other school, right? Now, how does this really work and how does this really help? And these are some of the seminars that you will take, right? As part of your minor, as part of your major, and things like that, all across. It's just a smattering of seminars, right? So what does really the minor do? Okay, so I want to show you a little something. Let's say you're doing a community planning and development course, right? And you do a minor in something like history of architecture and urbanism, or you do a minor in literary studies, or you do a minor in sociology, right? And suddenly all these very different kinds of jobs open up to you, right? You could possibly, again, sort of keep doing a minor in community planning and development, a major in that, but a minor in business studies or in system and infrastructure or in sustainability and environment studies, right? And suddenly a whole new different area of jobs are open to you. The reason why, let's take sort of architectural studies, right? Similarly, completely new kind of jobs start opening up for you. The idea is this, as I said right at the beginning, all of us have different areas of interest. So why do we want to create one kind of graduate? And number two, the built environment, our cities, our infrastructure, our towns, our villages, our dams, our markets, our landscapes, our parks, they all need different kind of experts who can work on that, right? So the idea is to kind of tailor you to be, what is the area that you really, really want to work in? Finally, and this is very, very important, just think about it this way. When you go for a job, so you can go and say, all right, so I have a major in architecture, and then your employer goes, what else do you bring to the table, right? And that's where you excel, right? That's where you differentiate yourself from the rest of the people asking for jobs, right? And not only that, the thing is also this, that at the end of the day, please realize that in India, we, over the next sort of 5 years, we are looking at an investment of about $1.5 trillion into our cities and our built environment. What this means is we are going to generate about 44 million jobs, right? And different kinds of jobs for the future. I mean, this must have become completely evident to all of you during the current pandemic. Just think of how the nature of our reality has completely changed, and so have the number of jobs. In fact, one of the, we were having this very interesting discussion at the university the other day over a webinar that we were doing. And one of the things that the expert who had come and said is, what's the truth of today? The truth of today is this, that there is no durability to jobs anymore, right? And what we are going to look for in the future, and the people who are going to get the maximum number of jobs, are those who have a flexible skill set, a multiple skill set. So this is what we are actually trying to gear our students for, right? The minors also bring a different area of advantage for you. So one of the things that it does is, right, so as I said, those of you who are graduating from any of the programs, whether it's the architectural studies program after your 4 years, or the community planning or the design program, or the architecture story program, you become eligible for master's degree programs across the world in architecture, planning, regional studies, urban landscape design, project construction management, just to name a few. But here's what's very interesting about the minor. Because you are doing more than 24 credits, you can actually do a master's in your minor area of choosing, right? So that's the other thing that the minor program brings to you. It actually allows you to go ahead and do your master's, your graduate studies, your postgraduate studies in a completely different area of your choosing, and become someone like me. For example, I started off my undergraduate as an architect, but then went on to do my master's in cultural studies and master's in anthropology, right? And then, do a PhD in anthropology, right? So and do another PhD in history, right? So, I kind of position myself as somebody who's an architect, but somebody who's a historian, but also an anthropologist, right? So just imagine how many skill sets I bring to the table when I go somewhere, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, again, sort of give you a short break and probably feature the last question that we have from DQ, right?
Yeah, hi guys. So this is your fifth question. Solve geometrical puzzles. Holes have been drilled through a cube of size 10 into 10 into 10 units as shown in the figure below. Okay. The number near each hole indicates its depth in units. All holes except A, B, C, D and X have been sealed on the surface after drilling. If water is poured through X, from which of the hole A, B, C and D will it find its way out? So options A, only B and D. Option B is only D. Option C is only A, C and D. Option D is all of this.
Meena, I think you'll need to, I think you'll need to give a little more time to solve this.
Okay, so yeah.
But we'll wait for a few responses before we.
Yes, sir.
I think you can give the answer, Meena.
The correct answer is option B. Only D.
Thank you, Meena. Yeah. All right. So, you may be wondering that, all right, is this just like a fantasy? Does this really happen, coursework like this? Well, it actually does. And, you would not be the first one to kind of doubt that this was the case, right? So did some of our students. Now, here is Ronak, who actually joined us in our first year. He was like, how is this going to happen, right? And then, this is a testimonial from him in which he has written that he was completely surprised that his timetable, his entire system, he was able to prioritize and create his own timetable, right? That's exactly how it works. And not only that, he came and he was very fascinated about politics, history, and global studies. And those are all that he's actually taking as his minor, right? Along with being in BR. Here's another student, Astha, who had joined us and, very interested in the question of philosophy and in literary studies and urban design. Astha is doing a minor in these kind of things, right? So all of this is very, very, very possible. What actually also really makes this possible is this fantastically diverse and extremely accomplished faculty that we have been able to put together at the JSAA. And who have come from all over the world, who have practiced all over the world. They've got their degrees all over the world, but have managed to come and collect themselves at JSAA. So I'm going to play a little slide for you to have a look at the faculty. All right, just stay with me for a second. Right. You know what's amazing about everybody whose faces you're seeing in front of you? Everyone has a degree in at least 2 completely different disciplines. Everyone, right? So some of them are trained as architects, then have gone on to become lawyers and practice between law and architecture. Somebody's, started off as a philosophy, but then gone on to do a PhD in architecture. Somebody who's gone on to work on architecture, urban studies, project management, English literature, interior architecture, geography, architecture. It's mind-boggling the kind of diversity of expertise and the kind of global expertise and wide variety that this faculty really brings to the table.
You can't see the screen, Jyoti.
I'm sorry, can you not see the?
Please share.
Are you not being able to see it?
Yeah. It's not shared.
I apologize. I'm so sorry. I thought I was able to share it with you. Let me do that again. So let me just share that again with you. I apologize. For some reason, I don't know what happened. That's actually the faculty sheet. Let me start from there. All right. Here's the faculty sheet. I'm sorry. Let's go through this again for a second. Right in front of you. Right, as I was saying, everybody is from the top 20 universities globally. Everyone has degrees in architecture, in design, and something else, and have practiced all over the world. So it's a fantastic wealth of experience that comes to the table at the Jindal School of Art and Architecture. Now, because we are also intensely connected with people all over the world, our lecture series and all feature people again from all over the world. So, Amit, who's from Adelaide, Julia, who's from Germany, Annapurna, who's from Harvard. We have some top-notch people coming in. These are our other podcasts. Sulakshana Bhattacharya is India's first woman woodworker. Romy Khosla is one of the top architects. Matthias is from, Portugal. So it's a wonderful. Jayati Ghosh is one of the most well-known economists who came and spoke with the students who are working on community planning and network. I mean, these are some brilliant people and some top-notch people from all over the world. All right. If you want to know more, I would really, really encourage you to go to our Instagram page, follow it. It's jsa.jgu. It's wonderfully curated by the students. It'll actually give you a feel of the place, the kind of the way, because students have done all of it, right? And you'll get to see how informal things are, how friendly the atmosphere is, and yet how serious we all are about what we do. That's one thing. I want to leave you before I finish with a set of 9 questions, right? I'm going to read them out to you right now. So are you someone who understands that objects, peoples, places have powerful interconnected lives? Are you someone who is socially responsible and wants to change our built environment for the better? Are you someone who is interdisciplinary and not straitjacketed? Are you someone who wants to ask interesting questions about our cities, our towns, our buildings, our infrastructure? Are you someone who wants to learn from working on real life actual projects? Do you want to be someone who actually knows materials and techniques when you graduate? Do you want to be someone who learns from what life has to offer? Do you want to be someone who understands what is actually to make things? And finally, do you want to be a part of a school and a learning environment that will truly transform you? Well, if the answers to these questions are yes, come and join us. We want to have you here, all right? Thank you. I'm going to stop right here.
Thanks a lot, Joydeep. That was superb. I think very interesting aspects towards education and very practically oriented and experiential. If I may summarize this, but on a lighter note, you have 2 PhDs, right?
Yes.
So what do you call yourself, Doctor Joydeep? How does that work?
No, I just say Joydeep. Remove both of them. As my mother used to say, you have 2 engines, one at the back and one at the front to move you. So you will definitely get somewhere in your life. Yeah.
Awesome. So Azad, do you have? Do we continue with you first before we go into the Q&A, or how do?
I think we should. Azad, maybe you can share your slides and give some specifics about the admissions process and maybe a bit about JGU to the students.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dion. Thank you, Jadip. Hello, everyone. My name is Azad Ali. So we'll have a little detail to understand how the admission process with the OP Jindal Global University stands apart in comparison to other universities in India. So OP Jindal Global University, established in 2009 by the founding chancellor, Mr. Naveen Jindal, in memory of his father, Mr. OP Jindal. So in North India, there are limited universities which are A-grade accreditation from NAC. So OP Jindal is one of them. So JGU is one of the few universities in Asia that maintains a 1:9 faculty-student ratio. You might feel surprised, but that's fact. In India, it's really hard to maintain 1:9 student and faculty ratio, which require a lot of money, a lot of manpower, a lot of resources, a lot of spaces to maintain this. We are able to do this because in 2018, the Government of India, Ministry of Human Resources and Development, awarded Jindal School, OP Jindal Global University as institution of eminence, which in India, there are total 11 universities, the private players who have been awarded this pride in terms of the private universities concerned. QS ranked university in North India, which appoints faculty members from India and different parts of the world with outstanding academic qualification and experience. You can experience when you have saw, Jati was talking about the number of faculties that we have, the faculties, their background and their origin, people from Chicago, people from Brazil, people from South Korea. This is name few in the Jindal School of Art and Architecture. 569 faculty members at present, 51% faculties from the top 200 universities of the world. You name any top universities across the world, including Ivy Leagues, you will find the faculty members teaching at OP Jindal Global University. 14% are international faculties from 32 countries. You can understand. The place that our university is located called Sonipat, which is just on the border of Delhi. People from different countries the world-class cities like London, Chicago, New York, Paris, are living inside the campus, and they are happily living here in India, teaching and producing one of the best alumni, those who are placed across the globe. We also have students from top 20 countries studying at Jindal Global University, many from South Asia, other from European countries as well. So the current alumni base at GGU is 2,800 who are successfully placed in the industry, and they are working hard to take this, the upcoming generation, make them employable, make them available the jobs and the internships anytime. Presently, we are collaborated with 250 international universities and the colleges based in 50 countries across the world. The 3,000 publications, 55 interdisciplinary research centers, our international collaborative department, which works hard to bring the top universities, top organizations, top personalities from the globe to come on board at GGU and share their experiences. QS World University Ranking is one of the second highest, most trusted university ranking brand, which this year in 2020, they awarded Jindal Global University as ranked top 150 universities across the globe. Number one law school in India. Number one private university, the youngest university in the world. So this is all about Jindal Global University. The courses that we offer at Jindal School of Art and Architecture, which is part of Jindal Global University, the BArch, it's a 5-year architecture program. We follow the NATA, Council of Art and Council of Architecture policy and the regulations to recruit students under this program. You should score 50% marks, physics, chemistry, maths, that's aggregate, as well as 50% marks in NATA. You're all aware that NATA format has changed. NATA exams are going to be shifted. The first exam is scheduled on 29th of August. So prepare well. We also take students with diploma at after 10th, and you can join us under the lateral entry admission. We also consider a student with JE score, that's JE 2. You should have 90 and above percentile to appear for the interview. That's a process. We consider one interview, that's faculty round, and after that you meet the dean and the vice dean along with your parents to take up the admission if you get selected. So the fee at Jindal School of Art and Architecture is 4 lakh per year. Additional fee, because it's a 100% boarding university, the hostel fee is 2,40,000. So the total fee per year is 6,40,000. So the application forms for BR are open. Before NATA exam, you still have an opportunity to enroll under the provisional admission. We do have interior design program under the name Bachelor of Design. It is a fully recognized Indian UGC approved degree program for 4 years. To get admission into BDIS interior design, you should have 60% marks in class 12. If you have NIFT NID qualified first round or second round score, if you NID result been announced yesterday, if you could not get a place in any of the NIDs, this could be the best opportunity for you to enroll to choose interior design program at UP Jindal Global University. We do conduct our own entrance exam, which is called Jindal Scholastic Aptitude Test. It is a general ability test. We do not check your creative ability under this test, which is home-based, home-proctored online test for 1.5 hours. If you have UC 50 and above marks in part A, you're most welcome. Just apply. We will take your interview along with your portfolio and will offer you the admission under B Design Interior Design program. So in terms of the fee, which is most competitive in terms of one of the world-class university that you're talking about. So the fee that we're charging this year is 3 lakh per year. That means just 1,50,000 per semester, which is way nominal in terms of other whether you talk NIT or NIFT or any other private college in India. The hostel fee is same for all courses with our undergraduate or postgraduate. It's 2,40,000, which includes everything, all 4 meals, bed, AC, electricity, transportation, everything is included in this fee. We do not charge anything apart from this money. We have 2 pathways under built environment studies, that's architectural studies and community planning and development. The most innovative courses are launched by Jindal School of Art and Architecture in India. You should have 60% marks in class 12, along with any other score mentioned on the screen, maybe J2, NIFT and ID, UCED, ACT, SAT, if you have appeared, if you plan to go abroad, or JSAT, you can appear into JSAT, that is organized by Jindal School of Art and Architecture, Jindal Global University. You should score just 50% marks in JSAT. The fee for this course is 3,50,000 per year, and then additional hostel fee. We'll take your interview. There's a faculty round. Then after that, you will meet the dean and the director, and we'll take you to the admission. The scholarships based on merit cum means should have less than 30 lakh annual family income, as well as your marks in class 12, NATA or JEE, and interviews. You can follow us on the social media. Here, I'm going to show you how Jindal Global University campus looks like. In a few minutes, hope you all are able to see the screen.
Yes.
So this is the.
Oh, there's no music, or is there music?
There's no music here.
Yeah.
So this is the entrance. This is the campus area. It's 100-acre university campus built just on the border of Delhi. You all are aware we can't get this much of land inside the Delhi city, but yes, around Delhi we have this spaces available. So this is the central foyer. We enter to the academic block from this side. You can imagine the kind of greenery we have maintained in the campus. We've been considered as #1 in Haryana for Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. These are the smart classes. Very high-tech classrooms. The global library. Digitally, we are connected with global libraries from top universities of the world, the Harvard, Oxford, and other Ivy League colleges. You can digitally access their library and share the journals as well. It's a dining area. We have 2 dining platforms on the ground floor. +4,000 students and the faculty members all can sit together and have food. The global auditorium, a very high-tech auditorium. We host most of the international talks, conferences. the moot court room. You all are aware Jindal Global Law School is the premier law school in India under the O.P. Jindal Global University. The housing, one of the finest housing any university can provide. The hostel facility for boys and girls. There are separate blocks. You can see the table, the chairs. We have prepared this standard format for all kind of students, whether under liberal arts, law, design, architecture. You are comfortably, you can use the table and chair, the space provided in the room. A recording studio. Most of our media and design student, liberal art student use this recording studio. We have a full-fledged health center with 8 doctors, 24 nurses, all time available inside the campus. We are able to maintain this considering the number of international faculties and their families living inside the campus and their kids. So all these are the requirement. Now the finest gym with high-tech modern tools and machines, equipments, where at least 100 people at a time can use this gym. It is open from 4 o'clock till 11 o'clock and then again 4 to 11 in the second half. We have parlor for the girls and the boys. We have dry cleaning shop. We have store, grocery store. We have 2 banks, 4 ATMs. You can have a look on the basketball court. We spend a lot of time, energy, manpower on promoting the sports and the healthy lifestyle amongst the students and the staff. It's a tennis court. This is how the university, other part of the university looks like. So you can have an entire, whatever you see here, the greenery, the water, the buildings, all this area is part of Jindal Global University campus. So here you see these huts. This is a food village. Yeah, these are the hostel blocks. This food village have a facility from all South Indian, North Indian, Chinese, all other brands available till 10:30, 11 o'clock in the night, starting from 10 a.m. in the morning. There's the faculty housing here, these buildings. You can imagine the kind of greenery we are able to maintain. We have a Olympic size swimming pool. This is the academic block, all that faculty housing. That's all from my side, Jaideep. Dion.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Azad. I just want to add one thing to what Azad said. You know, for the architecture school students and all the schools of JSAA, we are about the brilliant thing is our studios are open till late at night. Students start the studios open at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you can keep working and doing your own thing till 2 a.m. in the morning, right? So your studios and everything are open throughout. The library is open 24 hours at JGU and obviously to JSA students, right? So at any point of time when you go onto the campus, you'll be surprised with the amount of life that is there on campus, right? All right, so that's just what I wanted to add to what Azad was saying. Thank you so much.
All right, fantastic. I think that's a brilliant campus, you know, from what we've seen. I think pretty interesting. So some questions have come from parents here and students. In terms of your um, IB students. So IB students, what process do they follow?
For which program? It's very interesting. So IB, it's very interesting. BARC actually does not have a process for IB students, right? But all our other programs do, right? So the only case in which an IB student can apply for a BARC is actually if they have PCM, if they have taken PCM. In that case, they can go ahead and apply, same with the PCM score and their NATA score or their JEE score. But for our other programs, whether it is community planning, architecture studies, or interior design, it's a very simple process. Like Azad was saying, we take your overall scores. So IB scores can be there. In fact, we also take ACT scores, SAT scores, any of the things that you applied. And the main emphasis is actually on an interview and your admission application process, which is a little bit like the US style, since so many of us are from the US, where you have an involved application form, as well as you have a portfolio review, interview, and then you come into the school, Dion. Right?
All right. So it's a very American style format when it comes,
Yes.
because I don't think any of the other architecture schools that have an interview process too.
Yeah, we do. We do. And the interview process is essential for our awarding of scholarships, number one. But it is also essential, Dion, because we want to make sure that, the student is a good fit with the kind of ideas that we have, right? I mean, this is like I said, a very unique kind of a school in the country. It's completely based on this global paradigm. So if you're looking for a standard architectural curriculum, you may not be a good fit with us, right? Kind of a thing. So we want to make sure that the right kind of students come in, which is one of the reasons why we have that interview process. But also it helps us to get to know the student over a period of time. They get to interact with us. We encourage them to interact with our students, right? This is, and quite honestly, since so many of our faculty are all internationally trained and have lived there, this is a system that we are very, very comfortable with at one level, right?
All right. So there's few more questions. Okay,
Please.
what about say the international exchange programs? Do you all have something like that?
Oh yeah, a lot. I mean, look, as I said, well, we are bringing the international to you to number one. That's number one, right? Obviously, because the kind of coursework you're getting, it's comparable anywhere in the world. And in fact, it's not only the coursework, the faculty is comparable in anywhere in the world. Go and look at the faculty roster of Harvard. They don't have as many people from the top 20 that we do. It's very interesting, right? So that's number one. But of course, since we all are so well connected, our students are getting to go everywhere. So there are trips, to London, to Chicago, to Istanbul, Turkey, to Vietnam, to South Korea. And as Azad mentioned, JGU as a university has over 250 collaborations, right? All across the world. All of these become available to our students, right? Now, it depends on which program you are in. Again, the three programs, which is architectural studies, community planning and development, and interior design, because they are under the Haryana state government and under JGU, which is an institution of eminence, we can have semester exchange programs, short-term exchange programs, credit transfers, etc., all of that. But architecture, since it is controlled by Council of Architecture, does not allow for credit transfers, actually. And so we can't have a semester exchange for the architecture students. What we do have are what are called short-term trips, right? Master workshop trips, 7 days, 10 days, 15 days, right? During the summer breaks. Now the summer and winter breaks. Actually, the academic calendar at JGU is very interesting. We start in August and we end in by the beginning of December. So December and January are holidays. So our students actually get almost 2 months of break in the winter. Then we start again in February and go through February, March, April, May. Then June and July are off. So they get 2 more months in the summer. We use this time to really send them outside, right? And do collaborative studios, collaborate projects, short-term visits, and things like that.
All right. Cool. Right. So, Aparna Jalan, I hope that has answered your questions. And I'm sure transportation to Delhi is not a problem from.
Yeah. So we have a shuttle service that constantly. You see, one of the things. How can it be a problem if all our live projects are in Delhi? Let me put it like that, right? Most of the projects that our students are doing are actually in Delhi. I mean, I talked about Kalkaji, I talked about Noida, Unnati, I talked about Katkatha, which is in Hoskas. So our students are frequent. Our students are constantly going to Delhi 2-3 times a week because our projects and our site is there. So obviously we have a whole lot. We have an entire bus fleet which JGU has. So those are the ones that we use to go there. But students, if they want to do this on their own, can also do it. There are daily shuttles that run from from the JGU campus to the nearest metro station, right? To the railway station, to the airport. So it's wonderfully connected, Dion. There are no issues there, right? And the thing is, the campus is an incredibly safe campus, as Azad showed you. It's completely gated, the entire campus that's there. And till about the first, second, and third year, we have something called a gate pass system, right? Where students, if they want to leave the campus on their own, they actually have to dial in and their parents have to give an approval, which comes to the warden and to the security team. And then a student is allowed to go out. After the third year, you have to get a written permission from your parents because you become senior students, then we actually allow you to go out on your own without the gate pass system. But for our school, where we need to go out so often because we need to go to our sites, we need to go to our markets, we need to go to do all of that, to do market surveys, to work with people. What we do is every time a project starts, we actually send out a letter to the parents saying, here your students over the next 4 months is going to work on this project. This is how we are going to do it. They're going to be weekly trips, every 2 days or something, and we take a blanket permission. And then a faculty member actually accompanies them because the faculty member is also a lead designer on that project, right? So we all just go together to the site and we work the whole day and then we come back. That's how that system works.
All right, because that was just a question that came in regarding the safety of the campus.
Oh, wonderfully safe campus, folks. Please do not worry about it. The head of security, Group Captain Sudhir Nasiar, is a wonderful person, very, very committed to keeping all the students safe, secure, and healthy. In fact, now given the COVID situation, not only have our health facilities been ramped up to deal with everything, every student and everybody who goes onto campus, I still have to go to campus once in a while for some work. There's full screening, everything is done. So wonderful systems in place.
All right. Cool. Pranav wanted to understand a little more about the scholarship options and how the scholarship options work and what is the possible level of scholarship that they can get.
All right. Wonderful. All right. Thanks for your question, Pranav. Great question. As Adad mentioned earlier, we have what's called a merit cum means scholarship, right? It's not a simple merit scholarship only. It's a merit cum means. So what we do is, again, it's very much like the American system of application. You first apply to the program that you are interested in. If you are selected into the program, right, in your application, when you are applying, you also tick mark the thing that says, want to apply for scholarship. Now, once you are given admission and a cohort is created, then we ask you to send in your application for the scholarships, right? This then, as Adad mentioned earlier, is cross-checked with merit and means, right? And there's a particular means level at which you become eligible for the scholarship, and then the scholarship is awarded. Now, every scholarship that is awarded to you is awarded on a yearly basis, right? So you have to maintain a certain GPA, which in our case is a 6.5 out of an 8, right? and then the scholarship is automatically renewed. In case you fail to maintain that, then the school committee, scholarship committee, which I'm a part of, we sit and we reassess and give it to those who have actually performed better and they satisfy the means condition too. Scholarships range all the way from 50-60% scholarships, to 10%, depending on your performance.
Dion.
Hi, Dion. Can you hear me?
Dion is freezed.
I think there's a freeze at his end.
Rohit, can you hear us?
Yeah, my connection is a little.
You might want to switch off your video, Dion. That often helps. We can switch off our video too, if that makes sense. Yeah, all right.
Sorry, so the connection is a little unstable. But yes, so I got what you said, and I hope I'm not missed out much. But yeah, I got what you said, and I'm sure everybody else would have got
always,
that.
and I'm, in case you miss out something of a question, all of us at the school are incredibly accessible. Azad, especially so. You can just share Azad's number, and he'll love to give you all this information and be in touch with any other kind of information that you need. And if you have questions about academics, feel free to reach out to me on my email. I'll send a reply immediately.
All right. Now, one more question by Sandra Lal. So she's asking, is it a deemed university, or what university is it?
No. Sandra, we are a full-fledged university. In fact, as Azad mentioned, we are one of the 9 universities selected by the government of India to become a university of eminence. So we are a full-fledged university, established and controlled and regulated by the Haryana State Private Universities Act. And in fact, like I said, as of now, 2018 onwards, we have been chosen as a autonomous university where we and an institution of eminence. So all our degrees are valid all over the world, right?
So to make it more specific, Jaideep, sorry, we
just
are a private university. The definition is a private university.
We also want you to know that we are a part of the Association of Commonwealth Universities. We are a part of the Indian Association of Universities. All of it is there, right?
All right. So one question from Ganesh. Okay.
Sure.
How will the interview be conducted? I mean, is it going to be online or?
Ganesh, this time it's all online. And, and maybe somebody else will have this question too. So let me kind of preempt that in a second. Some of you who are, all of you who are here are interested in design, and you're wondering, how is the design curriculum going to work online? That's not a question I've heard as yet, right? So let me try and give that answer as I can. We've also done something very interesting about that at the JSAA. So what we have done is your first semester, right? We have rejigged it in such a way that you will be taking a lot of the seminar classes online, right? And then our feeling is that by about December or January or so, the colleges will actually reopen. And what we have done is shifted all our live projects and everything onto that semester, right? So you don't miss out on any of these opportunities because of this COVID pandemic, right? So that, I hope, takes care of that. But right now, all interviews, open houses, all of that is happening virtually, right? We otherwise, we'd love to come to Bangalore and host all of you somewhere and talk to you, share a cup of tea with you. That's what we've usually done. And I must say, I'm really missing that because it's so wonderful to meet the parents and the students. We are really, really missing that. But, as they say, man proposes and God disposes. So yeah, we are making do with what the best we can.
Fantastic. Okay. Right. So on that note, Joydeep, yeah, we've been missing catching up as well. It's been a
I
pleasure
know.
to meet you every time you've been down, and Azad as well. We've had a long-standing association with all of you, and it's brilliant. Every time we need to interact with you, I mean, I'm really awestruck with the new things that y'all come up with and the new ways and means that y'all are doing things. So
Thank
amazing
you so
work
much.
being done.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank
I think
Thank you, Dion.
yeah, I think I've covered all the questions um, that have been asked. Yes, so I have covered pretty much everything,
you.
and yeah, so I guess that's about it. So
All right.
uh, please like this video, this webinar, and that'll be very nice if you like this, and it'll encourage us and the team at Jindal School. But Azad and Joydeep, it's been brilliant, and we're
Thank you.
really happy to have had you here.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thank you,
Leon, for
Dion.
having us. Like you
Thank
said,
you,
it's
DQ
always a
Lab team as well.
pleasure to be here. Students, parents, feel free to reach out to us. Go look at the Instagram page. Can I say that to all of you? Please do that. It'll really give you a feel of the college, even the way I am not able to do, because the students are better than I am in this. Definitely so. Right? Go take a look at that. It's JSAA.jgu. Go look at it. Right? You'll have a fun time. Go
Thank
talk
you.
to the students. They're easily available on that. Tap them and talk to them. All right. Bye bye. Lovely meeting all of you virtually though. Take care.
Thank you, Dion.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Jadip.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Azad. Bye bye. Thank you.